I think if you rank first page on a competitive keyword, even a keyword that's moderately competitive, I'd say you would have had to fought enough battles to be deemed SEO expert, right? Because it takes a lot of planning, execution, and discipline to do what SEO experts do, just because it's the long-term game and you can't really shortcut yourself, or you can't really shortcut the line to become expert in Google anymore. It takes a lot of research, a lot of persistence, and it's definitely a long game. The problem is that even if you have a good product or a good service or a good business, you still might need SEO to make your business successful, because just being good isn't good enough. You gotta be good and then market yourself well. And then, so a business owner, and those are primarily my customers are business owners, it's just not enough for them to run their business well. They have to think about this marketing component as well, because that's just the way it is. You're fighting for the same amount, or you're fighting for the same amount of traffic or less. And you just got to stand out among the crowd, even if you are a good provider. So specifically for my business customers, things go wrong because the business owner thinks they're supermen or superwomen. They think they can do it all. And, I know so many business owner customers, they're all very alike. They're very hands-on folks, which, good credit on them. Like, they're good folks and they like being involved, but unfortunately there's only one of them and there's only so many hours a day. And are you going to spend time to learn this very obscure niche of digital marketing, or are you going to work on your business? That's the problem that my business owners run into. I'm not saying that they can't learn this stuff. They're certainly capable of doing it. It's just, do you have the time to operate your business and then operate this obscure marketing project? When I think of my business owner customers, a lot of them have awesome go-getter spirit and stuff, but sometimes they develop a bit of myopia about their own business, where they're not seeing it in the way that their ideal buyer should see it. They're not using the words that their ideal buyer is using to find. So they maybe, because they've fought these business type battles, that they lose sight of who the end customer is, or they're not necessarily the best on putting out appearances, on the outside, because they're too much living in their own world, which I totally understand. I get this way too. But sometimes if you're looking at, say, a puzzle that is difficult, you look at it the same way until you're unable to find the solution. And that's kind of what happens with my business customers sometimes, is they look at it one way for many, many years. And then when it comes time for them to tell their story in a meaningful way, they just can't do it because they've been looking at it as an operator. So that's one thing I would say. Typically, they ask how long it takes for them to be on page 1 of Google. And I guess the question that they should ask is, what do I got to do to make my ideal customer want to reach out to my business? Because typically what I do is I help build a site's authority. I make the site look like it's a business that you feel comfortable picking up the phone calling. I'm less worried about keywords and all this stuff some days. It's more about, can I create a business, or can I make a business look authoritative to where a customer feels comfortable picking up the phone or filling out that form? It's not about getting to the first page of Google sometimes, because I want your ideal buyer to be happy with the layout of the site and the content of the site and your social media and the things that your site is sharing. So ultimately you get the sale. Because some people, when they jump into this conversation, they want to talk about traffic and keywords, but let's not forget, at the end of the day, we're doing SEO to sell stuff most of the time. And I think people lose sight of that. So another question that people ask might be, how do I know it's working? It's like, well, the way Phil does it is Phil tracks the number of form submits, and we're able to track where it came from. And so we show month over month how many leads that are coming in. Or that's I think, how do I know it's working? it should be kind of apparent. And if you have a good SEO provider who is tracking this stuff, you should be able to tell a story with that data. Depending on the size of the project, like it can take a lot of spending time in dashboards. And I know that's not a very scientific answer, but you know, sometimes it takes enough to where I intimately know the URL structure of a site, you know, just because I've spent that much time in it. Now, do you have to go that way for all of them? Probably not, but when it warrants, you're going to need to put in the time, do the auditing, make sure all your tools are set up. After you do all that, I've got a pretty good view of the site from a top-down level.